So we want to graph f of x and g of x on the same graph. So exactly how are we going to do that, and what relations have we already learned about these two functions? Well, let's start out with first getting the points for f of x equals 3 to the x power. So in order to do that, I do need to set up a t-table. So I'm going to have x, and I'm going to have 3 to the x. Remember, as kind of a rule, if you watch some of my other videos, I always go from -3 to +3. That's just kind of a preference. If you want to go from -2 to 2, please do that as well. So when I do this, I'm actually, remember, raising this to this power. So this would be 3 to the -3. And then you want to carry that down, and I'm just going to go ahead and do that just to make sure that we're all on the same playing field. I don't want anybody to miss a step and then want to know how in the world I got there. So now, what you want to do is you're actually going to write what these equal. So if I have 3 to the -3, that means it's 1 over, and 3 cubed is 27. And then I have 1/9, 1/3. Anything to the 0 power is always 1. And then I get 3, 9, and 27. Now, based on what we've learned so far, what do we know about this log base 3 of x? Well, I know that this is the inverse function of 3 to the x. And since it's the inverse function, all I need to do for my log of 3 to base x is I'm actually going to inverse my coordinates. So the t-table, that's not going to work, right? So what I'm going to have to do is actually, and I'm going to change the color so that it's easier for you to see, I'm going to draw a black line to kind of divide these. And then up here on top now, I'm going to rewrite my x, and I'm going to do x, and then I'm going to do log base 3 of x. Now, if it's the inverse, so I'm going to write that here to make sure we're talking about the same thing. This is the inverse. So as the inverse, remember, that means you reverse your x and your y coordinates. So if I do that now my x's are going to be what my y's were. So this is going to be 1 over 27, 1 over 9, 1 over 3, 1. I'm kind of running strange things going together here. And now my y values are going to be what I had before for x. So here I kind of have a little discrepancy. I'm sorry about that. This goes here, this goes here. So just so that you remember, so now this column and this column are the same, and these two columns are the same. So how does that help me when I'm going to graph the equation? Well, I'm going to do the 3 to the x first, correct? And if I do that, I want you to try that first and then come back and make sure that your graph resembles mine closely. So hopefully when you graphed f of x, you obtained the nice blue line that I have going on here. Now remember, since these are inverse functions, that means that I can reflect that about what? You can reflect it about the y equals x axis. So remember, that goes right here through the center. I know it's not a straight line. We're going to be okay with that. So that means that when I have my graph on the other side for log base 3 of x, it should be a mirror image of the one I originally drew. So you can either find those points based on the mirror image, or you can actually plot those points. So what I want you to do, I did the first one, I want you to go ahead and plot the rest of the points and then come back and check your answer. So hopefully for g of x you have what looks like my purple line, kind of sort of over here. And technically, if these are drawn correctly to scale, you should be able to fold your piece of paper in half and then every point would line up exactly.